What's up, guys? Here with another video, and in this video I'll be making a quick recap of me talking about the Indiana Pacers versus the Thunders, right? So more NBA news, plus the Lakers finally got sold to this another NBA owner, right? So we talk about Thunder versus Pacers, and we have to talk real quick about what's going on with the Lakers, right? Boy, the NBA is being crazy, and finally the NBA Finals has now pushed to a 7-game series, right? The NBA Final for the last few years, they were boring, right? But people say that this is gonna be another boring final, but no, it's not, man. In my opinion, this has to be the most exciting series that I ever watched, right? We have not seen a Game 7 in almost 10 years, right? The last time we had a Game 7 in the NBA Finals, I was still in high school, man. Trust me, man. That's how so long ago it is, right? That's 2016, man. Oh yeah, it was the Warriors versus the Cavs, right? But now it's the Thunder versus the Pacers, right? So yeah, what happened that game, and why did the Thunder lose? The Thunder obviously got liberated by the Pacers, right? But I can tell you why Thunder lost. Obviously, because the Pacers did exactly what the Thunder did for the past 2 games, right? I knew the Pacers are not going to lose 3 in a row. They are too good to not lose 3. I mean, technically, if Thunder want to end the 6 game, that means that they have to win the next 3 games, and I don't think that was possible, man. It's just really hard to be a really good team, 3 times in a row. The Pacers just figure out how to beat Thunder, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was making tremendous amounts of mistake, and I feel like the Thunders are not focused and they're not disciplined. Yeah, because I can tell that I watched the game, but I wasn't at the environment. You're playing at home, it's gonna be tough, Yeah, I can see your obvious mistake, what the Thunders could have done better, but it's just really hard to play on the road game, right? Especially if you're on the brink of elimination. So both teams now only have 1 night left, and now it's going to Game 7 at the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Oklahoma City Thunder is probably most likely gonna seal the deal, right? So I'm picking the Thunders in 7, to be honest with you, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has 8 turnovers, man. And also the Pacers bench just shows up too, while the Thunders don't. It's just that simple. Predict the easy outcome, right? If SGA does not play well, the Thunders are done. If the Pacers are not playing well, if Tyrese Halliburton are not playing well, then the entire Pacers team will fall apart. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Simple as that, right? The Pacers defense has gone a lot better, man. Comparing to the older series, or the first 2 games of the playoff, right? The Pacers improved their defense. So shout out to Rick Carlisle, right? I knew being the Pacers would not be an easy task, but the Thunders can do it, man. They can do it, right? I remember in Game 7, I'm still nervous because I don't know how the Thunder is going to react in the Game 7 finals, right? Now, I know it was against the Nuggets, right? And the Nuggets are pretenders, right? They blew out the Nuggets in Game 7. I wouldn't be surprised if this happens to the Pacers, right? But then, the Pacers are tougher than the Denver Nuggets, right? Even though they both forced Thunder to play 7 games, right? If the Pacers beat the Thunder, then obviously Pacers are better than the Nuggets, and they are closer matchup to the Thunder than the Nuggets, right? And even if the Pacers didn't win, Game 7, if that Thunder team was the Nuggets team instead, then I would have picked Pacers to overcome the Denver Nuggets, right? This is why I like the finals so much, right? And the Thunders are the biggest threat to the Indiana Pacers, and the Indiana Pacers are the biggest threat to the Thunder, right? And most series have been pretty close, right? And not a blowout, right? So yeah, I think comparing Game 6, the Denver just they just beat Thunder, right? I don't remember as a blowout, but Pacers just blew out the Thunder, right? They were forcing a lot of turnover. They were making lots of threes, right? There's just one thing I don't like. Most people don't like the NBA Finals. It's just jacking up threes. That's the only thing that can find, that is negative, right? Everything else is just like, you know, everything else is okay, right? So yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, you know, you Obi Toppin, you know, Matherin, and you got, you know, yeah, I feel like, you know, just too much pressure, you know. Indiana made a lot of mistakes. Now they force Thunder to make a lot of their mistake, and Thunders has their, you know, last judgment, and they will play better in Game 7, right? Another reason how the Thunder lost is like I don't feel like they're fully focused, right? Yeah, it's very important. You need to stay focused, right? If you don't stay focused, you will lose. The Thunders look not focused. The team, the reason why, you know, the team lose, you know, in the NBA final or games, something like that, because they don't look focused, right? If Thunder stay more focused, they will beat the Pacer, right? So yeah, and also yeah, like the Pacers just like they've been defense really tightly on SGA. That was the reason why SGA did not play well, man. Shout out, you know, to the Pacers defense, right? You know, the way they rotate, you know, the coach, right? Rick Carl's just out-coached, you know, Mark, right? I mean, he's a good coach, but he's just not, you know, elite coach. It's just not that. Yeah, because that coach is way inexperienced, and he has way, you know, less coaching, you know, level experience compared, you know, to Rick Carl, right? So anyway, we done, you know, with the recap of, you know, explaining, you know, to me how I see, you know, Thunder. Why did the Thunder, you know, lost the Pacers? I already explained, you know, 6 minutes to the video. So we get to, you know, the LA Lakers, you know, versus the Lakers, you know. The Buss family has finally sold the Lakers, right, for $10 billion, right, to a new owner. Now you know, we all know how the Lakers is, right? The Laker franchise, right? They always want to win. They always want to win a title, right? Always look hungry to win more championship, right? I know the Boston Celtics just recently won a championship, and that team cost like $6 billion, right? But the Lakers are still like nearly double of that. Man, the Lakers had got to be the best franchise, you know, in the NBA. But ever since Jeanie Buss runs that franchise, you know, that Laker organization was the biggest joke. Like, she just let LeBron does whatever he wants, right? And even allow LeBron, you know, to draft his son Bronny James, right? That shouldn't be in the NBA. The Lakers just running their freaking biggest circus show, and it's just so laughable. Like, nobody takes this owner seriously, right? She's probably the worst owner that I ever seen in my life, right? This Laker did absolutely nothing, and they get absolute embarrassed every single year, right? Like, hopefully the new owner, you know, comes in and also, you know, will not take, you know, any more players BS, especially, you know, LeBron James, right? Well, you know, things aren't gonna look different, and LeBron's not gonna get what he wants, and hopefully that'll force him to retire too. It's because everybody, let's just keep it real here, you know, everybody's sick of tired of LeBron James, right? But yeah, Jeanie Buss cannot, you know, the Lakers are not a serious, you know, team, you know, at all, right? They're not serious to win anything, and they're not gonna do anything, you know, under, you know, Jeanie Buss, right? I know Jerry Buss or Dr. Buss or something like that, right? The father of Jeanie Buss. The Lakers been winning, you know, 10 titles out of 30 years, right? And then, you know, Jeanie Buss just runs that organization for like 12 years, and they only got one bubble championship, right? The fluke one, right? One fluke bubble championship. Yeah, it's just an absolute joke. Just, you know, Dr. Jerry Buss must be rolling in his grave. He must be really pissed at Jeanie Buss, you know, like, what the hell are you doing with the Lakers, right? Yeah, I know every single Laker fans are tired of her, man, right? They're just tired, man. The Lakers is just not a relevant team anymore. And I knew that they will become relevant once they get a new owner, right? I'm pretty sure, most owner will not handle, LeBron's BS, right? Or his nonsense, right? Not gonna let this, Laker turn into a clown show, right? Yeah, this LeBron James is just a big toxic, to the wherever he goes, right? And this is why a lot of Laker fans just don't want this guy in LA, right? And I feel like, I just know who Jeanie Buss is, right? She's the one. I just heard narrative about her to say that, she cares about organization, she doesn't make a decision. I mean, she does make a decision, right? She's just, wants, just to sell out tickets, right? And those Laker tickets are really expensive, right? So, yeah, we'll see like how this new owner will work, right? But she is still part of the Laker, as the governor, right? So, yeah, man. Hopefully the Lakers will stop being a joke of the NBA. Hopefully that Lakers team, man, that Laker organization, right? God, man, they have not won a legit championship for like 15 years, right? Let's not include out the bubble, right? Without that bubble championship, it'll be a 15 years drought, right? I remember Laker wins like every single decade, right? And now, it gets interesting, like what is going to happen to the Lakers, right? What's going to happen to them? And now because, the Lakers are so questionable, now the Pacers and the Thunders, they better win this championship because there's teams, that's willing to get a lot better and in the future. And also, the Thunder and Pacers may not have no more opportunity of winning championship, right? So, yeah, that just even makes the NBA even more interesting now, right? Every team has to go all on in because you think you have advantage the next few years, but what if injuries happen and what if, some organization, that were a joke that turned, to like the most formidable, franchise, that's now gonna win so many more championships going on, right? Because you cannot predict the future, right? The future is so unpredictable and it's so questionable. So yeah, if you see an opportunity, just like get this done right away, man, and don't wait, right? So I think that's more NBA news, and also we gotta stick to the trade rumors and all stuff, right? Where Kevin Durant goes, where all these big name goes, right? Yeah, this offseason is gonna be crazy, right? And it is goddamn near July, man, and we still have a basketball going on, right? Yeah, we love to see Game 7 in the finals, right? That should never be boring. Well, unless if it's filled with injury, unless, filled, with referees, manipulating the game, right? So, as long as ref doesn't manipulate the game, and as long as, players don't get injured, and as long as, there's no BS or anything like that, then the NBA should be fun to watch again, right? So, yep. Peace out.